Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We continue reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 31. We are on text 42. Tam Atmano Vijaniyat Pati Apatya Grahatmakam Daivopasaditam Mrityum Mrikayor Karyanam Yatha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. A woman therefore should consider her husband, her house, and her children to be the arrangement of the external energy of the Lord for her death, just as the sweet singing of the hunter is the death for the deer. So yesterday we were reading that Maya presents the male form for the woman to attract her, and she presents the female form for the man to attract him. And this is how she keeps us perpetually in the material world. We are so attached. Then when we die, then the next body, we take off the form that we are thinking. In these instructions of Lord Kapila Dev, it is explained that not only is woman the gateway to hell for man, but man is also the gateway to hell for woman. It is a question of attachment. A man becomes attached to a woman because of her service, her beauty, and many other assets. And similarly, a woman becomes attached to a man for his giving her a nice place to live, ornaments, dress, and children. It is a question of attachment for one another. As long as either is attached to the other for such material enjoyment, the woman is dangerous for the man, and the man is also dangerous for the woman. So we can see all of us, practically the whole world, we are in this position. The attachment, attachment to man, woman. And so as long as, but if the attachment is transferred to Krishna, both of them become Krishna conscious. And then marriage is very nice. So this is what Lord Kapila is telling Devahuti, because she was attached to Kardama Muni. She enjoyed for many, many long years with him. She had so many children with him. And she had a nice, beautiful palace. So Lord Kapila Dev is telling her that for the woman, the man is the attachment, the house, the children. So to transfer this attachment from the material to Krishna, Srila Rupa Goswami therefore recommends anashaktasya vishayan yatharham upayunjataha nirbandha Krishna sambandhe yuktam vairagyam uchyate. Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu 1-2-255. So Srila Rupa Goswami, one of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, he wrote this Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu for us, which Srila Prabhupada translated as Nectar of Devotion. So man and woman should live together as householders in relationship with Krishna, only for the purpose of discharging duties in the service of Krishna. This is the advice that Rupa Goswami is giving us, because we get so attached. We identify our family members with ourselves. We identify our house as a self, all of possessions as a self. What happens then? Because the attachment is to the material, then we have to come back to the material world. But we are all spirit souls. So we have to remember Krishna, and remember that everyone has their relationship with Krishna. Our family members, each of them, they have their relationship with Krishna. Engage the children, engage the wife, and engage the husband, all in Krishna conscious duties, then all these bodily or material attachments will disappear. So we do not need to separately do any endeavor for detaching ourselves from material. There are some Some people say we need to detach, we have to give up, we have to detach. But simply by taking up the process of Krishna consciousness, automatically we get detached from the material and attached to Krishna. That is what is important. Our attachment to Krishna is more important than detachment to the material. It will come. The detachment to the material will come. We simply have to attach ourselves to Krishna. Not easy, not easy. Easy to say it. But what we can do, endeavor, we keep on trying, keep on trying. Pray to Srila Prabhupada, pray to Krishna, pray to Lord Chaitanya, to the Panchatattva. We can only pray. Since the medium is Krishna, the consciousness is pure and there is no possibility of degradation at any time. So if we keep our attachment with Krishna, then we are always on the transcendental platform. Our consciousness, that's where our mind is going to take us. Our consciousness at the time of death is going to be our next destination. So if we are thinking of Krishna constantly, death can come anytime. Death is not going to say, okay, I'm going to make an appointment with you. Now to do anything, we have to make appointment. Or can I call you? No, call me tomorrow at this and this time. I'm free at that time. But death doesn't do that. Death is not going to make appointment with us. That's the reason we are advised to chant constantly try to remember Krishna. It's not easy, but we can try. It's not impossible, not impossible. Not easy, but not impossible. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. Dehina jiva bhutena lokal lokam anubrajan bhunjana eva karmani karoti aviratam puman. Due to his particular type of body, the materialistic living entity wanders from one planet to another, following fruitive activities. In this way, he involves himself in fruitive activities and enjoys the result incessantly. So, this is not our first birth in the material world. We are in this body, whoever we are, man, woman, whatever body we are in. It's not our first birth in this material world. We have been here since time immemorial in different universes and in different forms, doing different types of activities and trying to enjoy the result of that activity. When the living entity is engaged in the material body, he's called Jiva Bhuta. And when he's free from the material body, he's called Brahma Bhuta. So we, the living entity, when we say living entity, we are referring to the soul. We are not the body. When we are inside the body, that's why it's called encaged. It's like how you capture a bird and you put it in a cage, and the bird cannot get out of there unless the owner opens the door. Similarly, we are also encaged in this material body. And when we are in the material body, we are called Jiva Bhuta, and on the liberated platform called Brahma Bhuta. By changing his material body birth after birth, he travels not only in different species of life, but also from one planet to another. Lord Chaitanya says that the living entities bound up by fruitive activities are wandering in this way throughout the whole universe. And if by some chance or by pious activities they get in touch with a bona fide spiritual master, by the grace of Krishna, then they get the seed of devotional service. So this is that famous verse, Brahma Brahmite Kon Bhagyavan Jiva Guru Krishna Prasade Paya Bhakti Lata Bija. It's there in Caitaniya Caritamta. Lord Chaitanya says we have been wandering in this material world in different bodies and different universes. But by some good fortune, by the mercy of Krishna and the spiritual master, we get this seed of devotion. the seed of devotion, which we need to sow it in our heart. Actually, the seed of devotion is there in everyone's heart. Because love of God, love of Krishna is there in everyone's heart. We have simply forgotten it. But what happens is, by this contact with the bona fide spiritual master, then this seed of devotion begins to sprout. The seed begins to germinate. And what we have to do, how can we grow this Bhakti Lata Beach? It's called Bhakti Lata Beach. By constant hearing and chanting. Hearing from Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. So it's written that by some good fortune or by some pious activity in previous life, we get this seed. But this pious activity that is mentioned is not a material pious activity, not like ordinary, we do some dan punya or some going to some place of pilgrimage to take a bath or something. No, this is sukriti, a pious activity, some service to the devotee. Service to the devotee, maybe helping them in some way or the other, or taking prasad or book, or giving a donation, or reading a book, or something. So this is what the devotees are always busy with, because they want everyone to get this Bhakti Lata Beach. The devotees want to give this, revive the Bhakti Lata in everyone's heart. So that's why they're doing Harinam everywhere. So then Srila Prabhupada was there. Once the devotees asked him, Srila Prabhupada, so that means we did pious activities in our previous life. That's why we have come to Krishna consciousness in this life. Srila Prabhupada said, I am making your pious activities. So we can see it's by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada is a pure devotee. By his association, he is creating so many devotees, like a touchstone. You know, Chintamani, we were reading, Chintamani, you touch anything, turns everything into gold. Similarly, one pure devotee on the earth, he traveled all over. Well, there probably are other pure devotees too, but they were not traveling outside India. They were still only in India. But he went everywhere and he made so many devotees. That's the purity. Purity is the force, Srila Prabhupada would say. So after getting this seed, if one sows it within his heart and pours water on it by hearing and chanting, the seed grows into a big plant. And there are fruits and flowers which the living entity can enjoy even in this material world. The fruit of the Bhakti Lata, the fruit of the creeper of devotion is love of God. And that is what we need to revive. We need to revive our love of God. We have an eternal relationship with God. That is called the Brahmabhuta stage. In this designated condition, a living entity is called materialistic. And upon being freed from all designations, when he's fully Krishna conscious, engaged in devotional service, he's called liberated. So right now we are called conditioned. We are conditioned to the modes of material nature. And because we are conditioned to the modes of nature, we think we are the body. And because of that, we have so many designations, so many upadhis. I'm a man, I'm a woman, this is my name, this is my family, this is my country, this is my community, this is my, all these designations. I'm a wife or a husband or a householder or a CEO or whatever. All these designations are to the body. It's only for the body. But when the soul revives love of God by engaging in devotional service, it's called liberated. That is the liberated platform. Then no more birth, death, old age, and disease, unless one gets the opportunity to associate with a bona fide spiritual master by the grace of the Lord. There is no possibility of one's liberation from the cycle of birth and death in the different species of life and through the different grades of planets. So the how can we get the grace of God? Is by the mercy of the spiritual master. Without the grace of Krishna, we cannot get out of this material world. Krishna says, Devi hi esha gunamai mama maya duratyaya. This divine energy of mine, he says, is very difficult to overcome. You can't swim through it. But if you surrender to me, very easily you can cross it. So, how can we attract the grace of Krishna? How can we attract the grace of Krishna? By serving the spiritual master. By serving the spiritual master, we can attract the mercy of Krishna. Yasya prasadat bhagavad prasado, yasya prasadat nagati kutopi. That by pleasing the spiritual master, one can please Krishna. By displeasing the spiritual master, Krishna is displeased. And this is the easiest and the shortest way of liberation. In one lifetime, we can do it. We do not need to take many, many lifetimes for it. Is that okay?
Yes. I want to know, Hare Krishna.
Yes, please.
Yeah, it's written like there is life and the death spaces. So is there life after death?
Life after death, yes. Yes. There is life after death. Because we are the soul. We are the soul. We are not the body. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text 13, Dehino asmin yatha dehe, kaumaram yavanam jara, tatha dehantar prapti, dhiras tatra namuyati. He says that we are just changing our bodies. You know, when we leave this body, it doesn't mean we are dead. We are going to another body. Then he says, this process is like changing clothes. How we change our clothes, you know. Oh, it's night, I want to change into my night clothes. But we are there. Only the clothes are changing. So the soul is always there. The soul is eternal. But the soul takes another body. After leaving one body, the soul takes another body. Based on desire and karma, that body that the soul will take can be material or spiritual. Is that okay?
Yes. Okay. Thank
you. So
you.
there is life after death because the soul is eternal. The soul doesn't die. And we are the soul.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Jivo hi asya nugo deho bhutendriya manomaya tan nirodha asya maranam avirbhavastu sambhavaha. In this way, the living entity gets a suitable body with a material mind and senses according to his fruitive activities. When the reaction of his particular activity comes to an end, that end is called death. And when a particular type of reaction begins, that beginning is called birth. From time immemorial, the living entity travels in the different species of life and the different planets almost perpetually. So, because now we are in this human body, doesn't guarantee that the next life is going to be a human life. We have to act in such a way. We have to do the activities to at least get a human life. If we work like animals, if our consciousness is like animals, our next body is going to be an animal body. You know, and it doesn't mean that because we are in a human body now, we were not animals before. Yes, we have been in animal bodies also before. This cycle has been going on. It's been going on. It like since time immemorial. We have forgotten when we came here. This process is explained in Bhagavad Gita. Brahmayan sarva bhutani yantra rudhani mayaya. Under the spell of Maya, everyone is wandering throughout the universe on the carriage of the body offered by the material energy. So we are giving up one body. When we give up one body, it's called death. But when somebody dies, we say, oh, he passed away. But the body is here. Who passed away? It's the soul, the living entity. Then this living entity, based on his karma and his desire, is going to go inside another body. So like this, we have been wandering, we have been wandering in this material world since a very long time. Materialistic life involves a series of actions and reactions. It is a long film spool of actions and reactions. And one lifespan is just a flash in such a reactionary show. So any activity we do, any action we do, we are implicated by it. We are implicated to either enjoy the result or suffer the result. Now, someone will say, okay, let me do good activity, so I will enjoy. But that is also not good. Why? Because it's still going to bring us here in the material world. So what do we have to do? We have to act in a way and offer all the result to Krishna. Then we are not implicated in the result. Then we don't need to come back to the material world. The karma gets nullified. So when a child is born, it is to be understood that this particular type of body is the beginning of another set of activities. And when an old man dies, it is to be understood that one set of reactionary activities is finished. So, okay. We can see that because of different reactionary activities, one man is born in a rich family and another is born in a poor family, although both of them are born in the same place, at the same moment, and in the same atmosphere. So why one is born rich, one is born poor, one is born beautiful, one is born not very beautiful, one is born handicapped, one is not handicapped? Why is it like that? Everything else being the same, all other circumstances being the same. Why these differences are there? So one who's carrying pious activity with him is given a chance to take his birth in a rich or pious family, and one who is carrying impious activity is given a chance to take birth in a lower, poor family. So how we have acted, based on that, we are getting our body. It's just that the living entity is the same. The living entity is the same. It's just the reactions based on our actions. The change of body means to change a different field of activities. Similarly, when the body of the boy changes into that of a youth, the boyish activities change into youthful activities. So for example, we were in a baby body at one time. For sure we were in baby bodies. That's the reason we are still here. So in the baby body, we had particular activities. Then that baby body changed into a child body. Then that child body, we had certain activities. Then that child body again changed. We became youthful. Then we had different activities. So like that. What karma we are supposed to enjoy or suffer, we get that body accordingly to that, suited to that. So it is clear that a particular body is given to the living entity for a particular type of activity. This process is going on perpetually from a time which is impossible to trace up. Vaishnava poets therefore say anadi karma phale, which means that these actions and reactions of one's activity cannot be traced, or they may even continue from the last millennium of Brahma's birth to the next millennium. So from last millennium of Brahma's birth to the next millennium means already one day of Brahma is finished, then his next day is starting. So when Brahma's one day finishes, for us it's what, only 24 hours, right? But for Lord Brahma, his 12 hours is our Chatur Yugas, which is, Satyug, Treta Yug, Dwapar Yug, Kal Yug. All these yugas, 1,000 times, is 12 hours of Brahma. And equally long is the night. So when he goes to sleep at night, We, the living entities who are on the lower planets, there's partial dissolution and we enter into the body of Garbhodakshay Vishnu. And the karma stays with us. Then again, when Brahma wakes up the next morning, again he recreates. And based on our karma, he places us in different bodies and different universes. So law of karma is there. The Lord can, because Paramatma goes with us, right? Even if we are sleeping for 1 million years, Paramatma is there. He wakes us up and he reminds us. He's keeping a record. But karma is not eternal. Karma can be changed. Destiny can be changed, is in our hands. That's the reason we are encouraged to take up Krishna consciousness immediately, urgently, so that we can, bypass all the karma that we are supposed to go through for so many millions of lives and immediately can go back home, back to Godhead. We have seen the example in the life of Narad Muni. In 1 millennium, he was the son of a maidservant, and in the next millennium, he became, he became a great sage. So Narad Muni, in his previous life, he was a small boy and he was a maidservant's son. His mom was a servant in a dharamshala. So it so happened that Chaturmas came and there were these pure devotees who were staying there in that dharamshala for this Chaturmasya period. Right now, as Chaturmas is going on. And so she was serving them. And the boy, Narad Muni, his name was not Narad Muni then. I don't know what was his name. But he was also serving the sages. And one time, by his permission, he also took their remnants, the leftovers of their prasad. And just by serving them and having the prasad, he got the transcendental knowledge. He got this transcendental knowledge. He was able to see Krishna face to face. And then Krishna told him, okay, now you can't see me anymore till your next birth. Then he lies down in the body of Vishnu till so many millenniums pass by. Brahma's next day comes. And then he is born as Narad Muni. Is that okay? This Narad Muni's, this pastime is there in the first canto of Bhagavatam. First canto. Yeah. Was it all right today? Did anyone have any questions or comments or objections?
No, it's good.
All clear.
Okay.
Yeah, all good.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for listening in and joining in. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shilpa Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Hare Krishna.